Virgo, when was the last time a phone call left you speechless? Not in a bad way. Not the kind of speechless that comes from shock or pain or news that destabilizes, but the kind that comes from something so good, so completely and unexpectedly good, that the words just do not form because nothing in the vocabulary of ordinary conversation feels adequate to respond to what you have just heard. Welcome, because that kind of speechless is coming. A call is coming. And I want to be direct about what kind of call this is before I tell you anything else, because not all calls are the same. And understanding the specific nature of this one changes how you receive it when it arrives. This is not a call that delivers information, not a call that updates you on circumstances or logistics or the practical movement of something you have been tracking. This is a call that changes a thing between you and the person making it permanently, in the specific way that certain conversations change things permanently, where there is a before the call and an after the call, and the two are genuinely different from each other in a way that cannot be reversed or undone or returned to the previous state as if it had not happened. Some conversations do that. Move something permanently from one place to another. This is one of them. I want to tell you about the person who is going to make this call because they have been doing something in the time leading up to it that is worth understanding before the call arrives, so you understand the weight of what they are bringing. When they finally pick up the phone, they have been arriving at something, a destination inside themselves that they could not reach before now. Not because they did not want to, but because getting there required something of them. A kind of honesty or clarity or courage that was not available to them before, in the form that this moment requires. They have been doing the internal work, the invisible kind, the kind that nobody sees from the outside, because it happens in the quiet of a person's own mind, in the moments they are alone with themselves, with what they feel, with what they want, with what they have been afraid to say, or afraid to fully acknowledge. Even to themselves, they have arrived at the thing they needed to arrive at, and the call is the result of that arriving, the external expression of an internal completion that has been building for longer than either of you may fully realize. I want to tell you what they are going to say, not word for word, but in substance, in the essential truth of what is going to be communicated, regardless of the specific language they find to express it. They are going to tell you something about how they feel in a way they have not been able to tell you before, with a completeness and a clarity and a courage that was not present in whatever has been said between you until now. This is the real version, not the managed version, not the version that was edited down to something they could say without feeling fully exposed, not the version that gave you a partial truth while holding the larger truth back for a safer moment, or a moment when they were more certain of your response, or a moment when the risk felt smaller. The safer moment is now. Or perhaps the risk no longer feels small enough to justify continuing to hold what they have been holding. Either way, the real version is coming through in this call, in the form that changes everything. Now I want to speak about you and what is going to happen to you. When this call arrives, when you hear what is said, because I want you to understand your own reaction before it happens, so it does not catch you so completely off guard that you cannot find your way back to yourself. In the moment when being yourself is the most important thing, there is going to be a pause in the call after what they say, where you are simply in the pause, where the words that were just spoken are still moving through you and settling into the places they belong. And you have not yet found what to say back, because what they said was not something you were fully prepared for. Even if some part of you hoped for it, even if some part of you has been waiting for exactly this, the fullness of it arriving exceeds the preparation. That pause is okay. In fact, that pause is one of the most honest things you can offer in response to something real. It says, without words, what you just said reached me. I am letting it land. Give me a moment to be in what just happened before I find the words for what happens next. I want to speak about the everything that changes, because this is not just a phrase. Everything changes is literal in this case. And I want to describe what that looks like in the specific areas of your life that are touched by this call. Your understanding of this connection changes. Whatever story you have been holding about what this person is to you, or what you are to them, or where things between you stand, or what the realistic possibilities are for the two of you going forward, that story is going to need a rewrite. After this call, because the information you receive does not fit into the previous version, your understanding of your own situation changes. Something about where you are and what you have access to and what is possible for you in the next chapter of your life is going to look different after this call, because what is said opens something that was previously closed, or creates something that did not previously exist as a real option, and something in you changes. The deepest kind of change, the kind that happens when you receive confirmation of something you suspected but were afraid to fully believe. The kind that happens when something you wanted becomes something you have, and the identity shift of that from wanting to having is not small. It changes how you move through the world in ways that will not be immediately visible, but that will become visible over the days and weeks that follow the call. I want to speak to something that is probably happening in you as you hear this, a specific Virgo or analytical or protective response to the size of what I am describing. You are waiting for the catch. I know this about you. When something sounds this good, when a message arrives with this much warmth and certainty and forward momentum, there is a part of you that immediately starts looking for the qualifier, the thing that will bring it back down to a manageable size, the realistic caveat, the reason to hold back some of the hope, so that if it does not arrive exactly as described, you will not have allowed yourself to want it too completely. I understand that protection. I understand where it comes from, and I am not asking you to abandon it entirely, but I am asking you to hold it loosely. This time, because what is coming does not have a catch in it, not the hidden kind, not the kind that reveals itself after you have opened and shows you that the good thing was actually a different kind of difficult in disguise. This is simply good without disguise, without hidden cost, without the qualifier hiding somewhere in the fine print. Let me tell you how to be in this call. When it comes, because the how of being in it matters as much as the what of what is said. Be quiet first. Let them finish, not just their sentence, the whole of what they came to say, because there may be more than one layer to it. A first thing said, and then when they feel you receiving it, a second thing, more real than the first, and possibly a third, that they only get to, because the first two were received with the quiet that invited more. Your listening is a gift to them. In this moment, your full and present and unhurried listening is what creates the space for them to say everything they came to say, rather than the managed portion of it that they would default to if the space was not safe enough for the full version. Make the space safe by listening fully, and then when you respond from what is true in you right now, in the honest, unperformed moment of what this call is producing in you. Let that be what comes out, rather than what seems appropriate or safe or measured. I want to close by telling you something about what comes after this call, because the call is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new chapter, and new chapters deserve to be entered with intention. After this call, take some time, not a lot, but some, to sit with what was said and what it produced in you and what you actually feel now that what you had been hoping for or wondering about or carrying quietly has been expressed by the person you were carrying it about in a way that cannot be undone. What do you feel now in the after of it, not the during, not the speechless, surprising moment of receiving it, but after, when you are alone with what happened and can simply feel it without the presence of the other person requiring you to manage your response? That feeling, the honest one, is your compass for what comes next. Trust it above everything else, above what seems logical, above what other people might advise, above the fear or the habit of caution. What you feel in the quiet after this call is the truth of where you are. And where you are is exactly where you are supposed to be. The call is coming. It is going to change everything. And you are not going to know what to say. And that is okay. That is more than okay. That is the most honest possible response to something that finally arrives in the full size it was always supposed to be. Let yourself be speechless for a moment in the good way. The way that means something real just happened, and I am still in the middle of feeling it. And the words can wait. Everything changes. With this call, and everything that changes for the better.